So how you doing tonight? I want to share something here for just a minute. If you've been paying attention to me at all over the last few weeks, you know that I've been I've been plugged in. I've been interested in Bitcoin. The reason why is Bitcoin has done some amazing things here over the last couple months. It has my uh, first real attentive moment with Bitcoin. I saw it at $738, and $738 for a single Bitcoin, I thought was amazing, because what I had heard about Bitcoin over the last few years, I really didn't know what it was. I didn't know if this was just some kind of a scam, if this was just some kind of a Ponzi, or I just didn't know what this was. I couldn't get my head all the way around Bitcoin being a real opportunity of currency. So I got plugged in, and I got plugged in to a couple programs. I found out about mining. I found out about the process of Bitcoin, how it came to be. I found out about the blockchain, and all of this has just become it's almost consuming, because when you look at the present state of the economy and the countries that are taking their citizens' wealth, when you look at the countries that are reducing or deregulating their currency, literally taking the large bills off the table, so the citizens don't have access to those bills. And when you look at our country being the last one to even pay attention to Bitcoin, $20 trillion that we are now in debt, now that we owe our government, or our government, really, not our government, the private sector that we think is our government, that is the banking system, the Federal Reserve, that just keeps pressing and printing money to make everything keep going. The bailout of the banks that happened, the bailout of the banks that happened in '08, that's what brought on the full onset of Bitcoin. That is when the complete idea and the process was introduced. Now, if you don't know what Bitcoin is, I'm not going to go into it here at this moment. But if you are not involved in Bitcoin, you need to get some Bitcoin. And yeah, I'm going to show something right here. I'm going to throw this little clip in. It's going to be quiet, but look at this. You see that? That is what Bitcoin has done. That's the way Bitcoin has grown over the past, 5 weeks. And yeah, for a person to step out and try to buy Bitcoin right now, you got to pay over $900 for a single Bitcoin. What you want, I have an opportunity. I have a process where you can start so small, and you can start with just a very small fraction, begin acquiring Bitcoin. You can start to get Bitcoin really, really cheap. You don't have to spend the exchanger's money and paying fees to buy, or to buy even a little bit, which costs money. And even then, when you get it, you're just setting it in a wallet. Yes, and the value is going up, and it's going to continue to go up. But I have another way. That you can get plugged into Bitcoin. You can start seeing Bitcoin arrive in your blockchain wallet, or any other wallet that you use, whatever you want to use. You're going to keep seeing Bitcoin rise and show up in that wallet as more and more people become exposed to what Bitcoin really is. Watch this real quick. This is just a segment pulled off of CNBC, it's CNBC. Them just talking about Bitcoin. Should you plug in? Should you get some right now? Should people have it? Why is it right to buy Bitcoin? Take a look at this.
And Bitcoin over the last week has a $13 billion market cap. That's more than U.S. Steel, and that's bigger than Twitter. So what's going on? There's a couple just fundamental things going on. The first thing is just classic supply and demand. So we have demand coming from China and India. We talked about the devaluations that are occurring in China, capital flight coming from China, almost $50 billion last month. People are using Bitcoin as a digital gold and store of value in an environment like that. In India, a month ago, they, in 20 minutes, said 86% of the cash in the country is no longer valid. So they essentially demonetized the country. People then looked for an alternative currency that is outside of the financial system. Bitcoin got demand from that. At the same time, you have supply declining. So we only have 5 million Bitcoin that are left. There's going to be 21 million total. 16 million are free floating. The other 5 million are going to be drip fed out to the market over the next 100 years. So you don't have anything like in gold where the price goes up and you have a supply response from the miners. In Bitcoin, that's not going to happen. There's 5 million left. So you have increasing demand smashing right into decreasing supply. And what do you get? Well, you get a smart board that doesn't work. But the other thing you get is you get a Chinese yuan highly correlated to Bitcoin. Okay, that's been happening over the last month or so. And then the second, here we go, that's the chart right there. Look at that. This has been for almost a year. And if you actually look at what Bitcoin does, it tends to move a week or two ahead of the yuan. So you can kind of get an idea of where that rate's going to be. And then finally, you might ask, BK, is it too late to buy Bitcoin?
BK, is it too late to buy Bitcoin?
Yeah, you know what,
hey,
guys,
BK.
thanks so much for asking that. It's not too late to buy Bitcoin, and here's why. It's up 100% this year, phenomenal run, but this chart is a log chart, which adjusts for big price changes, essentially percentage change. So this is Bitcoin all the way back from 2002. Massive rally, and you can see on a log chart, we've really just been going sideways here for a bit. So if we really get this acceleration and we get some more use cases coming on in the next year, you could really see a massive breakout in this.
See, that is something that, that's one of the things that I saw. Those are some of the things that I began to see, and I recognized, listen, man, it's here. It's not going away. It started in 2009 for literally pennies, and now it's tracking at over $900 a Bitcoin. Listen, there I can direct you to and show you articles where they're talking about Bitcoin reaching points of $2, $4, $5, $10,000 per Bitcoin in this year, in 2017. I also can show you the concepts and the ideas and the understanding of why. And I'll just share something simple. When you look at the market as a whole, okay, it's trillions and trillions of dollars within the market, and all of that, depending on what it is, it's all speculative. There are, that market is, it's in this and this and this that they are going to keep growing, and they're going to keep going. There is some pain is going to come to the market. You got to know this. I mean, we've got an administration here that, like it or hate it. There's an administration here that is now going to change things, and it is going to cause change and pain in the market. So as things are changed, the market will react, and sometimes the market will react going up, but there's a lot of things coming to give the market reason to go down. And as the market goes down, what happens is people begin to take their money out of the market and they look for something else to go into. They can move to gold, they can move to silver, but Bitcoin is a real currency. It has passed gold twice now. And as Bitcoin becomes more and more thrown out there by, different investment companies, and people just basically see it. If they move their money to Bitcoin, listen, this is the number. If just 1% of all of those trillions of dollars, if they start to rescind, they start to come down. If people start to take money out, if just 1% take their money out of that and move it to Bitcoin, Bitcoin will go directly over $10,000, because 1% of those trillions of dollars moved into Bitcoin will send it through the roof. And Bitcoin as you saw in that CNBC video, there are only so many Bitcoin. They're not printing more. They're not pressing more. There's not more to be made. What is there is what is there. So if you're going to be plugged in, if you're going to be plugged into Bitcoin, then you're going to reach in and get a share of what's already there. Now, the great thing about Bitcoin is this: Bitcoin can be broken down into over 100 million segments. That's huge. When you think of a dollar can only be broken down into 100 pennies, a single Bitcoin can be broken down into over 100 million fractions. And so there's not more Bitcoin to be produced. There's just more division of Bitcoin to break down. So the value just goes up. So what is now 0.05% of a Bitcoin may be enough to make a house payment here before you know it. So wanted to share that with you. Take a look at the other videos I have. Take a look at the program that I have to offer. I've got things that can just, they're going to bring some real knowledge to you. And that's what you got to have. Listen, you got to have knowledge. So share this with people. Share this video with people you know. Comment below. Get back with me if you're interested in knowing more. And by all means, the people that did share this with you, make sure you get back with them. Thanks a lot.